Hey everyone, welcome to the first of what will likely be many updates throughout this off season.
Hello, everybody.
Hello,
Just
everybody.
in the living room.
I should say it.
You should say it.
Hello, everybody. Hello, everybody.
So we are officially in the off season here in Ohio, which means we are kicking off a new season of swing speed training. So this year I decided to set a goal that's fairly lofty. I really want to go after 185 ball speed. Now, the idea behind that number is really what I want to be at next year when the golf season kicks off, is to reliably be able to hit about 180 ball speed on the course, which equates to about a 120 club head speed. So I figure in order to get comfortable at that ball speed, I actually need to be able to go after it, swing harder, and be able to hit a 185 ball speed in the sim or maybe on the range. So really this off season, my main goal is to really improve on my driver in multiple ways. One is speed. Two is there are some technique issues that I need to work on that we'll kind of cover as we go through these updates. And I feel like some of those technique improvements will increase not only my ability to swing faster, but then also some directional flaws that I tend to have. So honestly, a lot of these updates are going to be about what am I doing to improve my driver, but really with the focus on improving the driver swing speed as well. So with that, let's kind of kick off with week one update. So last year I ended my swing speed training a little bit early. Actually injured my wrist towards the late winter, early spring, and I was halfway through a full spectrum stack program. So this week I started by re-baselining and start from scratch. The recommendation that I had was to start with the foundations program. But the first session I had this week was really that re-baselining session, which takes you through a series of different swings with your driver, 195 grams, 145 grams, 240 grams. You also do single arm swings and so on. And you can see that my initial baseline has me with my driver speed at about 119, which is reasonable. Typically when I do any kind of training sessions with my coach, I'm usually right around like 117, 119. So it doesn't surprise me I'm on the upper end of that as we're doing these swings without really focusing on hitting the ball. So that's kind of where we're starting at. The goal is not just to get the driver speed at 125, but probably higher than that, with the idea that when I am in a simulator on the range with the ball, I can hit at about 125 ball speed or club head speed, which gets me to about 185 ball speed. So this is where we're starting from. The whole goal is to see what we can do to improve. So one thing I really want to work on this year is better mobility. And really to improve kind of the mobility of my backswing in a couple different ways. One is trying to keep the arm a little bit more straighter, the lead arm a little bit more straighter, and also to just improve that rotation. Typically when I am driving, you can tend to see I shorten my backswing and my lead arm will collapse a little bit. And so I see Mike Carroll do this a lot, where he does a lot of practice swings, where he is focusing on really getting the height and the rotation with the backswing, really to kind of increase the width of your swing. And that's something that I really want to work on this year. So one goal I have is to make sure I do some mobility drills that I have outlined on a daily basis. So you can kind of see here me working on some of those. All right, next is a technique flaw that I have where I tend to sway forward a little bit in the through swing. And so what ends up happening is my chest, my head, and my pelvis end up further ahead of the ball than when I started. And you'll typically see with the better players, whether it's better amateur, all the way up to pro players, is that on average their chest, head, and pelvis sway is around 0, meaning that when they finish the follow-through swing, their hips, their chest, their head is roughly the same location over the ball than when they started. I tend to move forward, and actually my pelvis sway, my chest sway has been all the way up to like 8 inches forward, which is pretty significant. So that leads to a host of problems. Part of it is directional, and the part of it is you just don't have as much power as you would if you are driving off that front leg more, and it's more about the rotation versus kind of like that lunging forward. So one thing my coach has me working on is just improving the more of a turn and more of a posting with the front leg move, where I'm minimizing that pelvis, chest, and head sway. And so you can see here, working on that, not really working on fast swings, but really just working on the technique and getting that movement down, as that will translate into greater speed later on as we improve it. All right, and then I got my first foundation session in for the week. This one has 3 different weights. We did 240, 195, and 145. Each of those had 8 swings. The average on the 240 was 110 miles an hour. Average on the 195 was 115, and average on the 145 was 117. One thing I was really focusing on in these, and this is something I've also seen Mike Carroll do a lot of, is prior to actually doing the speed swing, is go through a practice of getting the full rotation, getting that width in the swing, really feeling that stretch, and then trying to implement that in the swing. And I found that definitely helped in my turns and my speed. Now these were full speed swings for the stack. There's a difference. You basically have full speed swings where you are going at it about as fast as you would at the most on the course. So if you're really going after one on the course, but you want to maintain balance and control, that is considered like a full speed. That's what I'm doing here. Later on in future sessions, you'll see that we have max speed sessions, and that's basically, you don't really care that much about balance. It's just going after as much as possible. But that's not the case on these. So it's a good start to the training. You can see that after this first week, my E-speed equivalent driver's swing is 126. Now we just got to see how much we can push that in future weeks.